Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the big show. All this brought to you by our friends at Casa de Campo in the Dominican Republic. Oh, by the way, I'll be down in a month. I spend a lot of time there. Teeth of the Dog is fantastic. The Pete Dye Gym, the Jerry Pate, fixed up, reopened in January. We're celebrating the 50-year anniversary of Casa de Campo. And by the way, again, direct flights from Boston, Charlotte, Dallas, Atlanta, New York, Miami. I might have left a city out, but an easy trek to La Romana Airport. They'll pick you up, take you across to the resort. It's casadecampo.com. And I need to get our next guest there to play some golf. Jason Sobel joins us now. Jason, longtime friend. I've known him forever. We're colleagues now, PGA Tour Radio, SiriusXM, CBS Sports HQ, the digital arm of CBS Sports. And Jace is also heavily involved in BetMGM. His story for the Genesis Invitational, his picks are up right now. Just read it a moment ago. Sobes, it is good to see you, my friend. How you doing?
Doug, thanks so much for having me on. It's good to be on with you. I'm just thrilled that every guest gets to go straight to Casa de Campo with you, Doug, on your dime. That's so nice of you, and I can't wait to go hang out with you there.
We're working on it. Checks in the mail, as they say. I used to say you're the most interesting man in golf, but I think you're the busiest man in golf, Sobes. Do you ever get a day off?
Yeah, I have plenty of downtime. I'm not that interesting. I'm not that busy. I fool everybody. I've been fooling everybody for a long time. That's kind of the trick to the trade is to
Yes.
make them think you're busy, make them think you're doing stuff. But no, I get out there, play plenty of golf. I'm not walking 36 holes a day like you and grinding away. You're working way harder than I am.
It's fun, though. It is a blast. Hey, I wanted to start off talking about Anthony Kim, and I heard your comments the other day, and it was an amazing story. He wins, if you haven't heard, in Live in Adelaide, Australia over the weekend. Beats back John Rahm, which was amazing. His first win in more than a decade and a half. Left the PGA Tour as a star, a debilitating back injury, and then quit the game, battled through substance abuse issues, and now he roars back. Lived through him a lifeline last year, didn't play particularly well. So I wanted to ask you, how big of a story is this, and are we giving it enough play here in the United States?
It's a good question, Doug. I think it's a massive story. I've been racking my brain over the last couple of days to figure out just kind of where it fits into the puzzle of biggest stories. I'm going to go back 7 years. I'm going to go back to 2019 just because my memory is not good enough to go back further than that. But I'm going to throw it out at you. Tiger Woods coming back to win the 2019 Masters. That's a pretty big one. Rory McIlroy capturing the career Grand Slam last year. That's a pretty big one. And I'd venture to say that Anthony Kim coming back after not having won anything for 16 years. He didn't play competitive golf for 12 years. It might be number 3 on that list.
Wow.
I hate to cut out Scottie Scheffler and everything that he's done, but just as far as a singular story on a Sunday afternoon in Australia, it was Saturday night here in the States, it really is unimaginable. It really is remarkable, everything you said. I mean, this is not just a player who, dealt with an injury and came back, or he wasn't playing great. Colin Morikawa at Pebble Beach, hey, that was a really nice story. He had one in 2.5 years. Wow, that's a long time. Okay, multiply that by 5 and take a guy who, like you said, substance abuse. He had some very dark thoughts during those days. I mean, I was sent by Golf Channel when I was working there 12 years ago, 13 years ago. Go cover the Byron Nelson. And oh, by the way, when you're there, go track down Anthony Kim. I kind of knew where he lived. I'm driving around to see if he's walking down the street somewhere. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm not going to run into him. But that's the kind of thing that it was. He was such a white whale, so to speak, in the world of professional golf that we didn't even know where he is. We didn't even know if he was alive, let alone was he going to come back and play golf and win another golf tournament someday. So I think this is a tremendous story. As far as how the coverage has been, I think in the golf world, it's certainly gotten enough attention. I quite honestly, Doug, over the last few days, I haven't watched enough ESPN and CBS and other outlets to really see if they've covered it the right way, but it really is one of the best stories, not just in golf, but in sports in a long time.
He made the jump because they're getting more world ranking points on Live. He's just outside the top 200, and they don't play enough tournaments for him. I just don't think he's going to have an opportunity to get inside the top 50, which would get him a Masters invite. Not enough tournaments in a short period of time. But do you think he's going to go through U.S. Open qualifying or maybe Open Championship qualifying? It'd be pretty cool if he made it back to a major championship.
I don't see why he wouldn't. Why wouldn't he want to? Let's push this thing while we're playing well and see what we can
sure.
do. And I'll even throw in the fact that look, Augusta National has given an exemption to Joaquin Niemann, so they're not averse to giving an invitation to a player on LIV who has played well. I have absolutely no idea what goes through the minds of Fred Ridley and those at Augusta National. I wouldn't even try to venture a guess as to what they're thinking right now. But boy, if they want some more eyeballs, not they need it, but if they want more eyeballs and global appeal and things that they look for, Anthony Kim certainly has some appeal, and he would certainly get some people watching those other streams and feeds that they have during the day at Augusta National. So look, I don't know one person that would say, no thank you, I don't want to see Anthony Kim playing Augusta. He holds the all-time record with 11 birdies in a single round, happened in the second round back in 08 or 09. 09 maybe. In any case, 11 birdies in one round at Augusta. Let's go see if he can get out there and try to do it again. Look, he's playing some terrific golf, and I hope it happens for him. And yes, I hope he earns it more so than is given things, but at some point, a little help along the way doesn't hurt either.
Yeah, Jim McClain, the world-renowned instructor down in Miami, and I've known Jim forever. He's an old guy like I am. And he even, on X today, tweeted out how amazing the comeback was. So I said, when you have a guy like Jim McClain and others applauding what Kim has done, this is a really, really big deal. All right, let's go to the top of the game, which is Scottie Scheffler. And I wanted to ask you this because I love your opinion on everything. He's won Player of the Year 4 years in a row. Tiger's the only guy to win it 5 years in a row. And of course, he's won it 11 times, so he's kind of retired the award. Jack Nicklaus, who the award is named after, only won it 3 years in a row. But my question is he going to win 5 in a row? Is it inevitable? Or do you think somebody might topple the great Scottie Scheffler this year? And who would it be if that's the answer?
The only player that can topple Scottie Scheffler is Scottie Scheffler. And it's this little game that he's playing now. The last couple of weeks, let me be as average as I possibly can during round one, put myself way back, and see if I can scratch and claw my way to the win. It's like he's playing games with himself now. Winning is too boring the conventional way. It's almost like the old staggered scoring start of the Tour Championship, except in reverse. He's going to put himself 10 shots back and then see if he can come back over the last 3 days. I kid, of course, but look, Scottie Scheffler is the best player in the game, and it's not really that close. That takes nothing away from Rory McIlroy, who might go out and win the Genesis Invitational this week. I really like him. I take nothing away from the Chris Gotterups, who have played so well, and the Xander Schauffele, who I think is going to come back and have a nice season. But look, Scottie Scheffler is so much better than the rest of them. We've seen it over the last few weeks. And again, I kid about him putting himself behind the 8 ball, but most other mortal players just because he's not going to play that many events that don't have the other best players in the world included. He played the Amex, he won it, played Phoenix. Okay, it was a pretty good field, but it wasn't a signature field. Now, for the most part, I mean, maybe 2-3 starts?
Yeah.
Texas swing for Scottie, but other than that, it's all going to be signature events, Players Championship, majors, and playoff events. He's playing against the best of the best. It's really hard to go out there and win, 9 more times in 15 starts?
Right.
Let's not put those expectations on him, but yes, he's very good, and he's going to be Player of the Year for our 5th straight time.
All right, let me tell everybody again, Jason Sobel's BetMGM article is up with all the picks for this week's big event at Riviera, and not that I ever copy off his paper. I would never do that. All right, Jason, I wanted to ask you this. Brian Rolapp, the new CEO, it looks like he's going to unveil the 2027 schedule at the Players Championship. That would make a lot of sense. And little bits and pieces are coming out. In fact, I thought this was interesting. Rolapp, an NFL guy, said from June to August, it's a dead time of professional sports after the NBA and the NHL finals. He wants golf to own that time frame, which I found interesting. And he wants to revamp the playoffs, perhaps moving the first 2 playoff events in August to Pebble Beach and Riviera. And I said, now that is pretty darn interesting. What do you think about those potential changes? I think that would be huge.
I kind of like it, Doug. Look,
yeah,
people in our industry are so set in their ways. They're set in the PGA Tour ways. They don't like change. I'm trying to come into all of this with an open mind.
Sure.
We start later in the year. Like, let's let football get out of the way? Why are we trying to have events compete with NFL championship games? It just doesn't really make sense. That's the big sport here. Roll-Up, of all people, certainly understands that, having come from the NFL himself a bit later. And then let's give golf its full season, and let's do something. And I think the idea here is that the PGA Tour looks a little bit like NASCAR, where I'm not a big NASCAR fan, Doug. I know you're probably more into it than I am, but you don't have to sit there and check the entry list every week and see if this driver is racing or that driver is racing. They all race in all of them. And so if we can get a golf schedule where, okay, maybe there's a week off here and there for certain players, but for the most part, you don't have to look and see how Scottie's playing this week and this week, but then taking 3 weeks off, then he plays this week. That if you're a casual fan, you just turn on the TV and say, here's all the best players they're playing every week. I don't know that that's a bad thing. And I know that a lot of people in golf are going to look at it and say, yeah, but what about these guys that don't get a chance to get into the top 80? And there's a lot of spots. Look, the answer to all things in golf, and I know people hate hearing this, is hashtag play better. If you play better, you get into those events, you get to be part of the in crowd, you get to be part of that rich get richer. As far as the playoff events at Pebble and Riv, I'm all in. Doug, first of all, we've seen weather at Pebble last week. We're going to have some weather issues at Riv this week. August should be perfect there. Primetime golf before football season starts, late summer. People are barbecuing all day, having picnics, going to the park, and then you come in and watch the back nine at Riviera on a Saturday evening. I think it's a fantastic idea, and I can't believe we haven't done it already.
Yeah, the weather would be incredible that time of year in California. And also, he wants to establish events. It sounds like not just a rotating event, but maybe Chicago, New York every season, because he feels big cities ought to be well served. And obviously, Chicago and New York, two pretty big markets.
Yeah, Doug, I go back and forth on this because, yes, it feels like if you're a big-time league, you should be in big-time markets and you should have a share of, all the people that are there. That said, you and I have both been to big time events in New York and Chicago and Los Angeles and other places, and sometimes it doesn't quite work out that way. Sometimes
Agreed.
A John Deere Classic where the entire community comes out and supports the event makes it feel bigger than New York, where there's 14 different professional sports teams all playing at the same time, and it just kind of fades into the background a little bit. So I don't know. I have mixed feelings about this. I certainly won't say no if they want to bring it to some bigger markets. I don't think it can be a bad thing. It's kind of, let's see what they can do. And maybe it's all about timing. Maybe it's about, let's go to New York, but let's not go to New York when the Jets and Giants are both having home games that week and you're trying to go against that. Let's go to New York in the middle of the summer, late summer, when nothing else is going on. I think scheduling and timing is going to be really crucial for the PGA Tour.
Yeah, and I love the John Deere, by the way. And now that they have a concert on Saturday and Sunday nights down by the 18th green, you can't beat it, Sobes. Those are my people. There in the Quad Cities. All right, I got to ask you a question about PGA Tour Champions. Not that I'm getting older, but I do pay attention. And I see the Zinger all the time down at PGA Tour Productions. Great guy, and he gives me intel. There's some talk about a private equity firm maybe getting involved with PGA Tour Champions, which would make it more independent, which is interesting. But my question to you is this. Insperity is a huge sponsor on PGA Tour Champions. They have their big tournament at the Woodlands in Houston, middle of May. Obviously, Insperity also is involved in the Genesis Invitational, the presenting sponsor for Tiger, helps his foundation. Also, the Hero World Challenge, Insperity involved there. Insperity is a big sponsor of Tiger. Will Tiger, number one, play on PGA Tour Champions, and will the potential debut, which I think makes a lot of sense in May, would he make the debut at the Insperity Invitational in Houston, Texas?
So it's funny. I happened to be listening to Rocco Mediate on PGA Tour Radio last night. He was talking all about PGA Tour Champions and the business of it and how it works and what could happen. And he said Tiger is absolutely, definitely coming out there. He said it might be once a year, but it's definitely going to happen. I will side with Rocco on this. That said, Doug, I think you're on the right track here. I've been saying this for at least 5 years, if not more, that I thought Tiger Woods would play PGA Tour Champions, but sort of when it not benefited Tiger Woods, that's not the right way to put it, but when it benefits things around Tiger Woods. If you make a Tiger Woods Invitational on PGA Tour Champions supported by Insperity, then all the proceeds go to the TGR Foundation and it goes to the learning centers. Like, yeah, Tiger's going to show up. And I could see not just one, but 2 or 3 or even 4 Tiger Woods related events on PGA Tour Champions where they're doing good things in the communities, they're helping the learning centers, it's going towards the foundation, and Tiger says, look, if I'm healthy, I'm there, I'm showing up, I'm going to play. I don't know that Tiger's showing up to a, no offense, Chubb Classic or anything like that. If he's just, looking at the schedule saying, right, that one looks like fun, let me show up and play with the boys again. But I do think he'll show up if it, again, behooves Tiger, if it benefits things that mean something to him. And I think you're on the right track with what you're saying there.
Yeah, it sounds like you have some intel, and you're just giving us a hint.
No.
Maybe? No? Okay.
Maybe.
Rocco does reveal a lot of stuff in his show, by the way, which is good stuff. All right, I wanted to ask you this, too. Obviously, the Koepka comeback story. We'll see him at the Cognizant Classic down in his home area there in South Florida, and hopefully he'll putt better at PGA National. I think he will. Patrick Reed. Yeah, it can't be worse. Patrick Reed, I mean, what he's doing and kind of circumventing the rules in some capacity, looks like he will go top 10 DP World Tour. Maybe he's already secured that, and we'll welcome him back. But what about Mr. DeChambeau, Jace? He's been very coy in the media press conferences for LIV, asking about after the contract runs out this year, what's the future? And he's like, well, we'll just have to wait and see, which, I was like, okay, that's an interesting comment. What do you think about DeChambeau? I mean, I know you don't talk to him, but does he want to come back? I know the PGA Tour would welcome him back. Well, what do you think? Because he's obviously very popular.
PGA Tour would welcome him back, sure. I think they would extend that returning members program if he didn't sign up in time. That I think they do a little something to.
They'll extend it
to extend the rules and let him back if he wanted to come back. That said, Bryson has also been fairly vocal about the fact that he loves being a content creator. He loves doing the YouTube stuff. Doug, I was just having this conversation with Carl Paulson the other day, and I think it's going to happen, if it hasn't happened already, quite frankly, that there is so much money in the content creator game. I am not a YouTube golf guy. I'm not watching that. No offense to anyone that does. Carl and I were sitting with a couple of friends playing cards at our club the other day, and we had on whatever YouTube channel it was. There was a content creator classic type of thing going on, and I'm sitting there watching it going, I don't really get it. I'd rather watch the best players in the world play golf than guys who aren't as good. And also, this doesn't seem to be handicapped. So you've got guys who played high-level college golf playing against 9 handicaps. I think I'm going to take the guy who's a high-level college golfer. At some point, I think we're going to see more of the Brad Dahlke types who's with good, and seeing these guys go, well, I can grind my butt off and try to make it to the PGA Tour and hopefully play well and hopefully make it to having fun hanging out with my friends all the time. I think we're going to see more of that in the future. And coming full circle with this, it wouldn't surprise me if at some point Bryson says, you know what, I'm really going to ramp up the YouTube stuff. I want to own that space. And I can go play tournament golf at the major championships. I'm exempt for those. Maybe I'll play a few others, pick and choose, but I want to have fun with my life. I want to go do what I want to do. I have enough money. I have enough clout. I have enough of whatever else I need. Why do I need to go travel the world and play 20 events every year? And it wouldn't surprise me at all, Doug, if that happens.
It is interesting what he has done with YouTube, and he was ahead of the game. And I think the PGA Tour is trying to play catch up going, my gosh, this guy has exploded. I mean, millions and millions of people watch him play with President Trump or whoever, and they're trying to catch up. The tour would love a taste or a piece of Bryson to help him out on that YouTube channel. I mean, you're right. It's unbelievable where that's been. Yeah. The potential is crazy.
And again, it's not me. I'm not the demographic for this, but
Me neither.
I can tell you there are tons of 16, 18, 21-year-olds out there, even guys our age who are just like, you know what, this whole division between PGA Tour and LIV, and it threw me off. I just want to watch people having fun playing golf, and I'm all for it. This is not me saying, old curmudgeonly Sobel is like, I'm against all this YouTube stuff. No, I'm all for it. It's not for me, but I love the fact that it gets more people into golf, just like Top Golf gets people hitting golf balls that normally wouldn't hit golf balls. If YouTube brings people to the game and they start to love golf because they're watching guys having fun doing trick shots and playing matches against each other and trying to break 50 in a scramble and things like that. Cool. I think it's awesome. I love the fact that it can help grow the game and bring more people to it. But I think that like I said, Doug, this is going to become a problem, I think, for the professional ranks at some point, when we're going to see a kid who's number 4 in PGA Tour U and essentially going to get, if not his PGA Tour card, his Korn Ferry Tour card right out of college. And he goes, no thanks, I'm going to go to YouTube instead. It's almost like the USFL grabbing guys from the NFL 30, 40 years ago and just taking a different route. And I could very, very absolutely see it happening.
Yeah, it's kind of exciting, but I will warn you, Sobes, when somebody calls you a curmudgeon, you cross the line of demarcation. There's no going back, so be careful if somebody's throwing that at you.
A curmudgeon every single week I go on a show.
Well, then you've crossed the line, my friend. You're in trouble.
I love it.
Hey, Sobes, thanks for coming on. I really do. I admire you, and I love listening to your show because, as we just found out for the last 20 minutes, you have great points of view. Some I agree with, some I don't, but it's always interesting and informative. I will see you, by the way, at the Arnold Palmer Invitational at Bay Hill. Looking forward to it.
I cannot wait. Great talking to you. I appreciate you, by the way. You come on, I host postgame a lot on PGA Tour Radio, and you're always so good with your time after taking 30,000 steps around the golf course, and then, hey, let me jump on the phone and talk to Sobel for 15 minutes. Probably the last thing you want to do before dinner, but you're always gracious with your time. I will see you at API, and like I said before, we got on. Bring your sticks. My club's about 15 minutes that way. We'll get Paulson out. We'll get maybe Jeremy Davis to come out. We can have a good time.
Good. All you guys live in Orlando. Yeah. Good for you guys. All right, it's the clan. It's the fraternity. Can I join? Can you give me like an honorary membership?
Absolutely. You're it.
Thanks, Sobes.
Thanks,
I appreciate it, bud.